Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster3, and today I'm going to make yet another horror review video. And this film I'm going to make a review of today is the film called Grizzly II. Grizzly II Predator the Concert, which is very strange, but it kind of makes sense if you've seen the film. Now, this film is basically like it's supposed to be a sequel to Grizzly, like the one from the 70s, which I think is a pretty underrated like animal attack film. But this is pretty much just like a standalone film. It has pretty much nothing to do with the first one, other than the fact that there's a big grizzly bear in this one. Uh, and this film is basically about these campers. I mean, this is very hard to explain, but the storyline goes that there's this big grizzly out there in the middle of the woods, and some kids get slaughtered, and then they send in like some experts to try to deal with the situation. I think there's also poachers. I think they're called poachers when you like hunt illegally. So you have those characters, and then you have the people that are trying to solve this problem legally. And they also call in John Rhys Davies' character, who is supposed to be some sort of expert on bears or like grizzly bears in general. And you also get a big concert, which I will get to eventually when I cover more things about this film or like talk more things about this film. But I'm just gonna leave it at that, as the storyline is just very muddled. So I'm just gonna tell you what this is all about. So the issue with this is that there's so much concert footage that after a while it just gets like frustrating. And I usually this is coming from a guy that actually likes 80s horror, like 80s music in general. I mean, most 80s film like music, period. But I mean, it just felt like the longer and longer into this film it went, it felt like each song got worse and worse and worse. And the strange thing about this one as well is that they like intersplice um, the footage from like the wooded area when they show it like the grizzly stuff in the woods and whatever. You get like these sequences of the animal like they attacking, or like the bears like roaring or whatever, and they're running around the woods, and then you just you just randomly cut to the concert stuff. So it almost feels like this is actually two types of films. So it kind of feels like a weird Godfrey Ho film, if you get my reference right there, which means it feels like this was two films spliced into one film, because it just doesn't seem like, I mean, there is still like actors that appear in both films, if you will, like both in the concert section of the film and in the woods or like forest section of the film. So that does still not make any sense. But I mean, just the editing in this one is just absolutely atrocious. That's to the point that it actually gets pretty funny after a while, because you can have this like really strange scene where there's like some guy that gets attacked by the grizzly, then like boom, concert footage. Just let's have some fun at the concert. So that's just so strange. And this one actually does have some interesting names in this one, because it has John Rhys Davies. You have Jack Star. What's his name? Jack. I have to double check on his name. He's been in loads of stuff. Jack Starrett. Yeah, he was in the original Rambo film. And you have Laura Dern and Charlie Sheen and George Clooney in this one as well, and Louise Fletcher and Deborah Freeman. So this is a very like interesting cast right there. But if you go into this film expecting most of those characters to have like really much screen time, you're dead wrong. Because I'm just, this is not in a big spoiler thing like that, but this happens like in the first 5 minutes of the film. But Charlie Sheen, Laura Dern, and George Clooney's characters are pretty much getting slaughtered right away. So don't expect to see them very much in this film if you ever come across this film. Now I also want to talk about the this particular release I have, because this is actually not an official DVD release. I mean, that you could probably tell, because this film was believed to be it was believed to be missing, or it was like destroyed, or like it was pretty much just disappeared. No one knew what like the film reels or whatever where they were. So this was considered lost until I believe someone like uploaded it to YouTube or something like around 2007 or 8 or something like that. And then I believe this actually at this point has a Blu-ray release, which I think someone like completed the film, because this film kind of just ends. It just doesn't really have any specific ending to it. It just kind of feels like oh, we're done right there, because they had trouble during the production of this one as well. Apparently, like a big producer just stepped out of the project and decided not to fund the project anymore. So they had loads of problems like behind the scenes and whatnot. And actually, the last 10 or 15 minutes just feels like some sort of weird making off featurette or something, because you can clearly hear the director yelling "cut" and "that's it" and stuff like that in the background. So I'm not really sure if it was just this particular release or whatever, not release, but this particular version of the film that is on the Blu-rays, because according to IMDb, this film officially runs for 1 hour and 14 minutes, but my copy right here run for 1 hour and 37 minutes, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That was, maybe I was just so dizzy in my brain at that point that it just felt like some weird like hallucination. But yeah, this film is a mess, and I have to admit that some scenes really made me laugh because they were so incredibly stupid and so bad they were good in a way. I don't think the actors are like any big problems. I think they probably made the best out of the thing, like the situation that they could. But the editing is just what really screws this one up. And like I said before, it just feels like two different films spliced into one another, and just a different, completely different tone from the forest section of the film and the concert footage of the film. So yeah, that is just really strange. And I'm just gonna say this: I urge you, if you ever want to watch this film, go pick up like this Blu-ray or DVD. I'm not really sure if it even has a DVD release, but do pick up the Blu-ray if you want to get this film, because this particular one that I have right here was pretty much like VHS transfer, and if even worse. And that was just because this was the only way I could get the whole of this film back in the day, because I was like searching around in the room and whatever, and I found this one. I'm like, oh, I've never seen this one before. So this was at the time that when this film had no official release at all. So some people bootlegged it and stuff like that, put it on this disc, whatever. So yeah, that's why I usually tell people, like, I urge them to pick up the official releases of the films from the stores or secondhand or whatever. Try to avoid bootlegs in general, because usually you get really stupid and bad transfers. Like from this one, but this has its history as well. I know that about that. So the only reason why I would ever like try to get a hold of a bootleg of a film, if it's not available on DVD or Blu-ray, and if it's just been stuck on VHS forever, that's the only reason why I would get like a bootleg of a film in general. So if there is an official release out there, try to seek it out. And if you can't find it for a decent price, so just try to wait and see if you can find it someplace else, or some other company re-release it. So yeah, but anyway, that's just some completely off topic. But as for this film, the acting is okay, and the soundtrack starts out pretty fun, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. But it's kind of so bad it's good at that point. It's just so badly lit as well. I think it has to do with this transfer as well, so you can't really see a whole lot of like the bear attack or grizzly attack scenes in general. And yeah, the camera work, I assume, was okay at some certain point of the film, and like the lighting, like I said before, it's just atrocious, and the editing is really the worst thing about this film. But at the same time, it's quite funny as well. So overall, I would say this is a 4 out of 10. This is a mess of a film. I just wish they could have completed it back in the day. Then it might have been interesting in a way. But at this point, it just feels like two different films shoved into one film. And that's really unfortunate. So this is a 4 out of 10 for me. If you want to watch a good Grizzly type film, check out the first one, which feels more like a serious film than this one. So even though Grizzly was sort of like a cash in on Jaws, but still it's a fun film. This one was very forgettable, but still had some fun parts to it as well. So that's the reason why I gave it a 4 out of 10. So yeah, Grizzly II, Predator, The Concert. I'm not really sure what it says on IMDb. It says The Revenge. Wow, it has so many titles. So yeah, there you have it. That's my review for Grizzly II, and yeah. Hope you enjoyed this particular video or this review. So yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.